Warning, viewer listener discretion is advised. The majority of the content of this program is not fact checked and it is highly advised that it not be used for teaching your children from said content, other than making an example out of the hosts of what they should not grow up to be. Remember this, it's the beer talking.
Welcome to the Truth About Beer.
Out there.
Welcome, guys. How are you guys doing?
Good Friday
good,
evening,
good.
everybody. Oh, let me pull up comments section
Welcome back,
here.
guys.
Yeah.
Fun show tonight.
Hey, Christine. Thanks for hopping on.
There we go. Hey, guys.
Yeah, got a really fun show tonight. Or it could be really deep.
And out there.
And out there. Yes. So it's been a couple weeks.
Yeah.
We're trying to get a pattern. So we'll try to do it every other week. And then when it permits, then we'll do it once a week.
Then we'll go daily.
Yeah, it's a daily show. That'll be fun. It could be.
Yeah. We're going to be late night.
Yeah. Well, we got to take care of the really important stuff. Hello, Dan.
Hey, Dan.
Welcome aboard. Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
So,
We'll wait and let everybody get on here. We'll get a lot of people to join. We'll give them a few seconds
really,
to get on here. Wow.
Really
that's
fascinating
impressive.
topic tonight.
Yes, we do.
And I think everybody has probably either experienced themselves or had a family member or,
90%.
someone that's experienced.
Yeah. They know what we're talking about. That's for sure. Some of you know exactly what we're talking about. And you probably even have stories. So don't forget to put those in the comments. If you,
I have stories.
Yeah. Everybody has stories.
Yeah, it's crazy. But this is the Truth About Beer and Out There with Papa Joey and Uncle Tim. So
Welcome.
because it is the Truth About Beer and that means we have beer. And tonight I have never had this. This is another Texas beer that we're going to try tonight. It's the Oak Highlands Brewery. And I believe they're in Dallas.
Yes. Highland?
Yes. Oak Highland.
Oak Highland.
Oak Highlands Brewery.
Highlands.
Yeah. This is it's called Guava Good. And it's Kolsch Ale with, you guessed it, it's got guava.
Guava.
In it. That's amazing.
Gotta love guava.
Yeah. What was the, 6.1
on the GSR
on the alcohol and 22 on the IBU.
Ooh,
so
that's up there.
Oh, that's really low.
Is it?
Yeah. So it shouldn't be
So it's only a 6.
too bitter at all, but it's up there in the alcohol a little bit.
Wonderful.
Well, let's check it
try
out,
it, man.
Trying to check out all these Texas breweries since still new to Texas.
Oh, we have so much beer to drink here in Texas.
It's everywhere.
Cheers.
There's a brewery. Yes, cheers. Oh wow.
Wow.
I wasn't expecting that.
No.
It's almost I mean, it's
what the heck?
It's almost like a sour. Have
I'm
you
not
ever
sure
had
how to. Yeah, I mean, it's almost like a.
I was expecting the guava to be a little sweeter than that.
That's really weird. It's like a seltzer.
Yeah.
With lime.
Well, that's the dry part of it. Yeah. Interesting.
Really very, very strange.
I had a couple of sours today. Sour beers. I don't know if you had any of those. And so, this is like I was expecting a regular tasting beer. And here we go.
That threw me for a loop. Was not expecting that.
Hey, Heavy Metal Beer Club.
Hey, guys.
Yeah, this is
I wasn't expecting that
Texas
at all.
Brewery.
I want to say it's good, but I'm still in shock. I wasn't expecting that at all.
It doesn't suck.
No, it doesn't. But it's not like any beer I've had. It's almost like an apple beer.
Yeah, I mean the closest thing I can say is it
sour.
kind of falls into that sour category.
That is
but it's
so
not
weird.
A sour. I'll drink it.
It's really good. It's unlike anything I've ever had, but I would have not guessed it was a beer. If you blind taste tested this, what would you say it was?
Well, I would say it was a sour. Yeah.
Wow, that's just really different.
It's a coal shell.
That's really different.
With
It's light.
lava. Yeah.
No bad aftertaste. It's dry.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. I'll have another
We
one.
need to get Arthur and Andrea to come out to Texas and try some of these breweries breweries around here.
Thompson. Oh yeah, we have. There's a
it's all
brewery
kinds
every 10 miles. It's crazy.
Yeah, you could spend a half a year out here just doing your
Yes.
show.
Yes.
Visiting breweries. Oh man.
So I got no chat here. Give me 1 second.
Oh, your chat disappeared. Yeah, there's lots of chatting going on. Well, we would love to have you come out. Yes, we would. Well, I don't want to delay our topic tonight.
You want to get started?
We got all night to
right.
drink the beer and stuff. So yes, we're talking about I see dead people. No, mostly from children, and like I said, I bet everybody's probably got a story, or somebody they know or had kids that had imaginary friends, and
so what I hear a lot is we're told as children that's your imagination. It's your imagination. Mm-hmm. So I think when they tell you it's your imagination, I think they're trying to get you to not fear the fact that you're really seeing things and experiencing things because they don't want to scare you. I mean, we're basically lied to all of our lives as children, Santa Claus and Tooth Fairy and everything. But when you have a bad dream, or when little children have bad dreams and they run and say, I saw a ghost, I saw this guy was in my room, this girl was in my room, I saw a bond, whatever. And they're like, no, that's your imagination, which I really don't think we have much of an imagination that lives outside our realm. I think it's all within us is our imagination, what we think, but I don't really think it's what we see.
Well, and going back to parents telling their kids that, it is something imaginary because they don't want to scare them. It's genuinely because the parents don't believe it's anything.
Well,
they're just thinking it's their imagination.
Or they don't know how to describe or explain it to their children.
Because as children, as we grow up, well, I'm going to read this.
Oh, yeah.
This is really interesting.
Go ahead and do that.
So this is the topic of this was 3 scientific reasons kids see ghosts more than adults. And Mama Cat, she's on her own tonight. So Arthur must be on heavy metal and Andrea's on Mama Cats. I love it. Anyway, so the first one, and this was really interesting, but
that blew my mind. But it's just,
proportionately, it is true. So it says kids' brains are proportionately larger than adults. So yeah, basically we grow into our brains, right?
Our brain's the same size when we're born and our body grows around it. So when you're a child, your brain is basically its size and your body grows around it. So that makes an adult seem like it has a smaller brain due to the proportional size of our bodies, which is true. And I didn't know that.
Yeah. Cool. So this says, according to a licensed counselor and an author named Karen Good, because during their early years, children's brains are proportionately 135% larger than the average adult brain. They have more vivid imaginations and extended brain functions. They are able to shift from one brain wave stable to another in a split second. In fact, I can't change pages that fast. Is that right? In fact, yes, that's right. From ages 2 to 6, it is difficult for a child to distinguish between conceptions that are inner based and those which are outer generated. Good thinks that a toddler would see no difference between a TV character and the soul of his or her deceased grandmother. This makes it easier for them to establish conversation and relationships with them.
Understandable.
Yeah. Did I say that right?
I
relationships with them. So yeah, that's
that
kind
makes
of
sense.
wild. And then the second scientific reason. Okay,
it's about the science.
That's right.
Got to follow the science.
The brainwave connection. So toddlers and young children are ruled by their own perception of life for the most part. Their brains see and hear things that only they understand. They have the power to talk to their imaginary friends, enjoy the world through unfiltered eyes, and not be forced to believe one concept over another. However, this all ends when the adults in their lives start telling them how to think and what to see. If a child is told that ghost spirits aren't real, eventually they're going to let it go. Another Michael Mendiza explains, if children see a form or something that an adult doesn't see, they quickly learn to screen it out or hide it because that's not normal in their parents' environment. The ghost is not part of what the culture reflects. Say this explains why adults in the Eastern world are more likely to see and be able to communicate with spirits than those in the Western world.
Sure. Spirituality.
And number 3, and this is between the ages of 11 and 14, parts of the mind shuts down.
Yes.
That's called becoming a teenager.
Yeah, where fantasy becomes reality.
So according to Mendiza, the human brain begins to recognize itself around age 11. Unless a human being makes every effort to hold on to the neural connections that are psychic.
Or psyche.
That's one of those words.
Yeah, could be.
That are psychic or that can see spirits, ghosts. They will be completely erased. The brain stops seeing. That's sad, isn't it? In other words, the ability to see beyond this world and other imagination gets squashed as most humans age.
As we become realist.
Yeah.
We put away those childish ways.
Well, isn't that a shame, though?
Yes, it is.
It should be mentioned that it isn't until recently that adults with seeing capability have come forward to share their abilities, which are known as mediums and so forth.
Psychics, seers.
So
very cool. And, this is something that everybody's known. We've kind of known it inside all of our lives, but it's never been a topic to talk about. It was like taboo.
Yeah. I mean, I remember growing up or being little, having somebody scurry past my open bedroom door almost on a nightly basis, kind of shuffling their feet. And I knew it wasn't my younger sister, and my baby brother hadn't been born yet. So I don't know what it was, but I eventually just decided it was my imagination.
Exactly.
Yeah, went on. So,
and I think we've all had those experiences. If you guys, if you recall back, the boogeyman, the noises, the creaks in the night, all that stuff. It's not. I think that's why we made Disneyland, so that we could justify our imagination.
Yes.
So, imagination is not as defined as people make it. I've imagined a lot of things, and I don't know what's real and what's not, but it's hard to tell. So your brain
figure it out.
Your brain tells you it's not real, so you just let it go.
And that's why we became paranormal investigators.
Exactly.
There's still those questions. And Christine put a big one up there. Let's see. And I have to say thank you, Andrea. We love the new shirts.
Yes.
They're colorful.
Mine's small. I'm going to have to get on the treadmill. You're absolutely correct.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that 100%. And I think deep down, everybody really, really thinks that, but we've been programmed not to think that. But I mean, anybody that's any kind of spiritual has to believe that. It's just like me seeing a UFO.
Hey,
I mean,
Keith, welcome aboard, buddy.
So
thanks for jumping on.
So that's
our setup.
That's
right?
our setup.
Yeah. I'm going to give up my chair for a little bit. So I'm going to let Tim introduce our guest.
Okay.
And
I'll tell you a quick backstory. I've lost 2 boys a year ago, and then 7-8 years ago. I lost my son Jordan, and after I lost him, I forgot how old Morgan was. She would come to our room and said, "Why is Jordan here?" And we're like, "Honey, he's not." And we would pass it off and say, you just had a bad dream, go back to bed. It's imagination. And this happened over and over and over. So it affected her incredibly. So after all of this time, and because Joey and we have all become paranormal investigators, we've researched and done a lot of stuff. So now we would like to introduce Morgan, my daughter.
Hello.
And let you hear a little bit about her story, which I think she's ready to talk about now. But as children, we probably all had that thing going on. And so Morgan's going to share with us her story and define a little more about. She's ready to talk about it. So I thought that would be a good idea for those people that are still holding that stuff in, that kind of want to talk about it but don't want to talk about it. I hope she can encourage people to face that within themselves and deal with it. So welcome, Morgan.
Hi. Okay. Am I good enough with the mic?
Yeah, no, you're
Okay.
fine. Just talking to the mic.
Okay.
And I'll just let you take over.
All right. Well, I'm gonna tell everyone kind of like my experience and story. My great grandma was a medium and passed it on to my mom. And genetically, my mom passed it on to me. But then on my dad's side of the family, my grandpa, he's a medium as well. He got told from like the upper world that they needed to pass it. He needed to pass it down to me. So I kind of have this gift now. I started seeing things at a young age. After my brother passed away, I was about 8 years old, and for a week, he would come into my room and stand in front of my bed. And I was very young, so I basically stopped eating, stopped sleeping, and it kind of freaks me out. So my parents took me to the doctors, and I wouldn't tell them. And the doctor made my parents go out of the room, and I told the doctor, "Hey, I'm seeing my brother." And so then the doctor told my parents, and that's how they found out. And then, I got put on sleeping medication to make me sleep, and it kind of shut off there a little bit. But then after I kind of spoke up about it, I started experiencing stuff when I was little. So in my room, I would see, shadow men come in my doorway. I would hear stuff while I was sleeping. I'd have to cover my ears. And then I do remember it was just kind of scary, as a kid, experiencing this stuff. Pretty scary. So my mom told me that you can kind of like, if I wanted to talk to them, I could. If I didn't want to, I didn't have to. So I kind of shut it off here and there. But then at the age of 14, 15, my grandpa told me, you have this gift. And that's when I found out, maybe I'm not crazy. So my grandpa told me about the gift, and that's when everything started happening. One time I was washing my hands in the kitchen and there's this window in front of, the sink, and right across there was a house. And in the window there was a lady and she looked so mean and it scared me. And I ran to my dad crying, and my grandpa told me, "You know what? You need to help this person. She's coming to you for help." And I was scared. It's like, okay, maybe a couple days later I go back and I'm getting told she's there, she needs help. She has a daughter, she's worried about, where her dolls are. And you could I mean, if I was dead and I kind of want to know where my dolls are. So I got told that her daughter was okay and the dolls were safe, so I helped her and poof, she was gone. Another time I was sleeping in my room, about to fall asleep. You know how like you're about to like right, you're falling asleep and you're about to fall asleep.
Mhm.
This guy was holding me in my bed and would not let me move and was growling in my ear.
Wow.
And it scared me. And I woke up crying and I had to tell him to go before he would let me go. I'm like, leave me alone in my head. I couldn't scream, I couldn't do anything, I couldn't move. So finally I told him to leave and he got off of me and I ran into my parents' room crying. And I slept in their room for like a week. My mom saged the room. And so after school one day, I came home and I was like, you know what? I'm pretty tired. Maybe I want to take a nap. So I go to take a nap. And right when I'm going to sleep, man shows up again and growling in my ear, holding me down in my bed. Can't scream, can't cry, can't talk. Kind of just had to tell him, leave me alone, go away. I don't know. It's kind of crazy seeing that at a young age.
Yeah.
I see things, I dream about things, I hear things when I'm sleeping, even like today. Um, right when I'm about to go to bed, I have to cover my ears so I don't hear or having to kind of deal with them while I'm trying to sleep.
Right.
Um, I guess at a young age, it's scary for kids to tell their parents.
And again, we say, honey, it's just your imagination.
Yeah.
Go back to bed. No big deal.
I'm glad that I have parents that are open to it. Especially like my mom, she sees things, she deals with them too. So it's very good having like that connection with my mom, being open about it. Whereas like if I'm a kid and my parents are open about it, they just think I'm crazy. But yeah, it's pretty cool to have this gift. I mean, I everyone might have it. You just have to be open to it.
I think it's about learning how to use it.
Yeah. Think so too.
Tell them a story about when you were in college in
Oh yeah, okay.
in Arizona about the
So
teacher.
I was in school one day and I was walking in and I heard my teacher crying on the phone and I like go to class and I'm like, "Hey, like is everything okay?" And they're like, "No one knows. She's just crying, gone, not coming back in." I'm like, "Okay." So I go and I sit down and I start drawing. Drawing helps me like find things out or like talk to people. And so I was drawing and I got told her brother is in the hospital. And I was like, "Oh, wow." Out of nowhere, just brother's in the hospital. And I went to her and I was like, "Hey, like, is everything okay?" And she's like, "No, my brother just had a heart attack." And I was like, "Wow, okay." That's when I kind of figured it out, like, whoa, mind blown there. Like, what just happened? So Um, yeah, and then I emailed my grandpa and I was like, "Hey, what should I do?" And my grandpa was like, "Her brother's gonna pass away. You need to help her and you need to tell her, hey, this is what's gonna happen." So me and my friend went to her and pulled her aside and we're like, "Hey, not to scare you, but your brother might pass away." And not even a few months later, there was a funeral and her brother passed away.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
the stories when she would come home and was like, "Dad, you won't believe this. I saw everything," and I thought she was going to think I was crazy, but I had to tell her because I saw it, and I think it did a lot for her in accepting it. And I mean, I would almost rather have something like that for comfort, you know. And a lot of people have that and hold it in and don't use it and everything, but because she's been having this for so long, she's starting to get used to it and starting to learn that when this happens to her, she needs to share it and she needs to open and be open with it to people. And I think it helps a lot. She's she used to come in and tell me about Jordan in the doorway all the time. He'd just stand there looking at her.
Mhm.
And what are you going to tell her? I mean, well, well, was he okay? Was he smiling? I'm like, how was he? I got to the point where I just stopped being negative about it and dismissing it. And nowadays she's very aware and very open, and she sees and she hears and she accepts it all, and she's not afraid of it. And she's able to decipher. She's able to put the bad stuff away, to fight it, say, hey, my boundaries, you can't bother me. And that took a long time, because before, when she started opening up, everything started hitting her. It was like, how we had the cloud over our head and spirits are just going over and in and out and in and out. And so once she recognized she had the gift, she started opening herself up to it, but she had to learn that she had to be careful about what she would let in. She had to create a boundary for these things, because they were all hitting her at once. And it was like, I don't know what to do. It's like we prayed and said, but it wasn't until she got it down that, hey, no, 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 I can't help you move on, that she started singling out people, or filtering people that would come that needed help, that she could start helping. And I thought that was just incredible. And it still happens today, like she said this morning. And it's not scary anymore. It's comforting knowing that you can help people like that now. So she's grown a lot.
Yeah, I do get pretty overwhelmed. So my mom told me that you can kind of not okay, how do I say this? Um, like you got to be open to it. So sometimes I'm not open to it because it's very overwhelming when I am open to it. So I kind of shut that off a little bit,
Set a boundary.
set a boundary, but also um about you can control it, turn it off, turn it on. But about my brother, we were super close and it was hard when he passed. I think he was checking on me that whole week after he passed. She's like, "Hey, I'm okay."
Yeah, it took her a long time for it to settle in that she had lost him.
Yeah.
You were in denial a long
I
time.
was in denial for a long time up until I was like 15. So,
Yeah, it took a long time for it to kick in and say, "Oh, wow." And just watching her and listening to her, you could totally tell when she finally not only accepted that it had happened, but she started being aware of
those
the
feelings.
feelings and
Yeah.
the spiritually that he was there. And now he visits all the time, and it's not
Mhm.
scary, and it's wonderful, and we welcome it. And
Um, I have dreams. So dreams mean a lot.
yes, they do.
Um, Also numbers and colors. So I'll see numbers, they mean stuff. I see colors, they mean stuff. But dreams, I have spirits come to me in my dreams, like, "Hey, this is gonna happen," and then it would happen, and I'm like, "That's mind blowing." Didn't know that would happen, but it's just very interesting how like the mind works and how like the spirit world works and how people with this gift deal with it.
Yeah, it's we all have the potential, like, people say we only use 5% of our brains, and like Tesla and Nostradamus and Einstein, they used a much larger portion of their brain, not all of it, just a bigger portion than what we do now. Uh, God only knows what would happen if we could tap into what's there. But yeah, she's kind of trained her mind, her brain, to acknowledge and then put boundaries up. And so it's been able to benefit her for the last, I'd say, 4 or 5 years. It's been very, very beneficial. Whereas before it was just torture. You know, it's a pain, real pain, because she didn't understand it, and she was scared of it, and it bothered her. And a lot of you guys out there are the same way. And you know dreams have a lot to do with it. And um, I don't know that I don't want to, I don't I don't know that I want to have that. I call it a talent or gift. Um, but there are people that recognized it and grew it, manifested it, and learned and made it stronger and bigger. And we have the ability to do that, but some of us do, some of us don't. But she's been able to recognize it, learn from it, and then grow it. And it's just been very, very interesting.
Yeah, it's been very crazy. It's been a long journey
Mhm.
figuring all this out and having to control it. But we have a question.
There are many theories out there about quieting your mind. Do you have any recommendations for people that would like to discover that ability? Well, okay, and I'll let her answer this. But so when you meditate and you quiet your mind and you cut off, you know, your thinking and all of that stuff, you go to a different place. And this is what the Native Americans did. This is what the Hopi did. This is what the Hindus and Buddhists, and this is what cultures have done all over the earth and gotten into that meditation state. And they were able to see, communicate, learn in that state. If you are interested in doing it, I would recommend doing it. Finding out more information about it, because you don't want to enter a place where you shouldn't be. So yeah, we have it, we can do it, and I believe it's possible. And I'm sure there's a billion books out there that'll kind of guide you through and teach you how to do that. So I kind of belong to a, a group called CE5, and they teach us to do that. We went out into the desert, and we all sit and we meditate, and we clear our minds, and we look up at the stars
Play music.
and play music. Actually, the music we played was actual music from sounds that were recorded over in Europe and England, when crop circles were being created. And there was a sound that was produced while those crop circles were being created. And so those sounds they've downloaded, and we play those sounds in the desert at night, and we concentrate and we keep our eyes up, and we see amazing things. It's called CE5. Look into it if you want to. There's a CE5 chapter, I'm sure, somewhere right around you. It's almost like a MUFON. But that's when I learned that you could go out and be quiet and listen. And see, that's the thing that nobody does anymore. Everybody keeps asking and praying and asking, looking for an answer. But it's very, very, very rare that anybody just went and took 20 minutes. And I mean, this does not happen. 20 minutes. You just sit out by yourself, close everything off, and close your eyes and just listen. You don't ask for anything, you don't look for anything, you just listen. And you will start to find things coming to you that you would have not received had your brain been so busy. So I encourage people to give that a try. But again, meditate, pray, be careful where you are. I mean, where you go, allow yourself to go, and do some research on it, because if you are interested in doing that, yes, it's definitely possible. There are people learning all the time how to do that, and it's a good thing. It can help you. It can grow you spiritually. It can grow you um, inside, make you a better person. It can get rid of health problems, um, but that's one way to go. So yeah, you can. I mean, anybody can do it, but I suggest you research it.
I'd research. Be more open to it. Don't shut it off as much.
Yeah, don't be closed-minded to it.
No. Some books though that I've been reading. If you know the medium Matt Frazier, his books are kind of open to it and tells you how to use it. But if you do your own research, good things, not bad things, just be open to it. The meditation helps me a lot when I'm trying to figure stuff out, just help people. I lay down, play my meditation music. It helps a lot.
But as she's grown up, some things she's improved upon, some things have gone away. we lose the ability, as when we're children, we see and we're open to the spirit world and things happen all around us. And we either accept them or we ignore them. But as you grow, you lose that talent, you lose that gift, you lose that thing, because like he was reading over there, your mind starts, deciding on what's reality and what's the other side, the realm, the dimension.
I mean, if you don't use it, you could lose it.
You don't use it, you lose
Yeah.
it. But as children, we're taught as we grow up not to use it, that it's wrong, and we lose it.
For me, I do have some stuff shut off. I don't see things as much anymore. I think that's because I've been so scared for that. But when I'm sleeping, it does affect me a lot. I hear things, I feel presence in my room. I've also heard, like, I have a couch in my room and I like hear like a ghost sitting in my couch. That also freaks me out a bit. But when I sleep, I have to cover my ears because I'm trying to sleep. I don't want to be bothered right now. I don't. I'm sorry. Me time. Let me sleep. But yeah, you don't use it, you lose it. And I guess for me, I lost the not seeing them, which I'm okay with because they really scared me. But maybe once I get older and I'm done with my education and figuring out my life right now, maybe I'll be open to it when I'm older. But just right now, it's not the moment.
And because of what she's been going through and all the things that we've experienced about, our boys being gone and them coming back and playing with us and messing with us, Wyatt has also experienced a lot. He comes to me all the time. In the morning, he'll wake me up and say, "Dad, do you know about this? Do you know about Armageddon? Do you know about the battle of good and evil?"
And he's so little. How does he know
"Well,
these
what are you
things?"
talking about? Where did you, are you watching? Where you learning that?" He goes, "Oh, it just came to me in my dream." And then he'll come to me and tell me things about history that he has no information whatsoever. And he'll come and say, "Dad, is this true?" And he'll ask me a question. I'm like, "Where did you hear that?" He says, I it was in my dreams. Is that true?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, but I mean, none of this stuff he should be seeing on Netflix or Cartoon Network or even local television. I mean, this
Yeah.
this stuff is like controversial, and it's not. It's like
No,
you don't talk about
no
it.
kid his age should know
No kid
that.
his age should know anything about it. And I ask him all the time, and Allison says, "No, somebody told that to him." I'm like, "Who would have told it to him? Where would he have watched it? He plays video games all day long. They're not on the video games.
No.
They're not on Cartoon Network. They're not on Boomerang." And he sits there and he goes, "Did you know blah, blah, blah?" And he'll bring up specific names and times and history and say, "Did you know about this?" And I'm like, some of the things I heard about, but didn't know a lot about. So I'd say, "Well, here, let's look it up." And we would Google it. Turns out he'd be right. He would come to me and he goes, "Dad, have you ever heard of and he'd talk about a certain kind of monster.
Oh yeah.
And it's called a,
Something. It was some crazy monster back in the old
it
days.
is all, they're different names. He comes up to me and he goes, "Have you heard about this monster?" I'm like, "Baby, that's not a monster." He goes, "Yeah, it is. Let me have your phone." And he'll pick up the phone and he will Google it.
It was a crab, like the big lobster crab
And
thing.
it would be like an old Chinese or Japanese or Tibetan ancient
Oh,
story from
it's called a skinwalker.
well, it wasn't a skinwalker, it was something else.
Something.
But and he has names for him, and I'd look up these names and it's like, "Dude, that's not a thing." And we'll look it up, and sure enough, I look it up and it shows the images and the stories and all of this stuff. And I'm like, "Dude, come on, you read this before you went to bed." He goes, "No, Dad, I swear, this was in my dream." And he would name these things and he would describe them, and I would right there look it up. And I'm like, "Oh, how do you know that?"
Yeah.
And so in the beginning, I was very skeptical. I'm like, "Yeah, I know you've been watching bad things. You've heard this somewhere." Well, in reality, I in the back of my mind, I wanted to think that, but I know that's not true because he's never. I mean, he's been homeschooled a long time, and he never really had the opportunity to learn of any of the things that he's talking about. I mean, ask Morgan. He says he brings up stuff that he should not know about. And, you know, he's 10 now, and I'm sure he's in that 10, 11-year-old range where it may slow down and he may start saying, oh, that was imagination, and may start blocking that stuff out. But yes, he has that ability. And it was without a doubt, he would come to me and talk to me about Hitler and talk to me about things that happened in the past, and certain details about things we've heard about, but were more intricate. And I would have to like look it up and verify it. And my God, I don't know how you found that out. So it's amazing. And only because we're accepting and we've been through this, that he's allowed to come to us and say, Dad, you know about this? Most parents would say, you're just having bad dreams. Don't think that way. It's your imagination. Go back to bed. So we've encouraged him. Yeah. When you learn things like that, when you hear things like that, when you dream about things like that, come share them with me. And over the last few months, he's been coming and telling me some pretty interesting things. And I will sit there and look him up and just be amazed that he knows about these things. He does it to her
He
too
does
all
it
the
to me
time.
all the time. We'll be laying in bed watching a movie, and he'll pause the movie like, Morgan, I gotta tell you something. Can I tell you something? I'm like, what? And he'll say something. I'm like, how did you know that? I didn't even know that. I look it up, and I'm like, this kid is a genius. How does he know
Yeah,
this?
he's got access to a different dimension or spiritual world or something. And you can't take that stuff for granted. And if you have kids, if you have children, if you know people that do this, you need to stop doubting them and stop
Yeah.
pushing them away, and encourage them to keep doing it and keep going on with it, because it's just amazing.
But no, like with the dreams, it could be. Oh yeah, he could be having dreams about his past life.
Could be.
His
Yep.
past lives.
Yep.
But no, with the dreams, I'll bring up a dream that I had. It was like it felt like a real dream. And there's dreams that you feel real, you feel stuff. But no, this dream, my brother is checking up on me. And so was in a house and we were partying, right? And
Is that the dream?
it was the dream.
All right.
We were at a house party. And I haven't seen him in a long time. And we were there and he came to me and he gave me a big hug and it felt so real. And after that I woke up crying because it felt so real and he was there checking up on me.
I remember that.
And it was huge. It was a huge thing for me because I haven't seen him in so long.
She walked in just bawling. I'm like, honey, what's wrong? What's wrong? She goes, I just talked to Jordan. Not I saw Jordan, but I just talked to him. I'm like, honey, it's okay. And she goes, no, Dad, you don't understand.
No.
He just came to me.
Like I felt him.
I just talked to him. And I'm like, okay.
It's
But
crazy how dreams can be though.
yeah.
Like real life, like feeling, like it's crazy.
And she was breathing hard. She was
Yeah.
I know dreams can get us all riled up and everything, but she's like, no, Dad, I swear, I opened my eyes and he was there 1 minute and the next minute he was gone. So yeah.
I don't know. It gets pretty crazy up in the mind.
It's a blessing after a while, once you get used to it and learn about it.
I mean, at first when I started experiencing these things, I didn't like them. Like it was hard, it was scary, but once you learn and you're open to it, it's a blessing and you just kind of have to accept it.
Yeah, we took her to the doctor and they wanted to put her on
They put me on sleeping medication,
depression medication, and they're telling her, oh, she's just got too much going on in her head. She's just depressed and it's anxiety and it's
Oh, perfect. The change after 20. So, my brother, before he passed, told my parents he did a lot of bad things.
a lot of bad things.
But we love him though because he was a good person. He told my parents, "I'm gonna pay you back. I'm gonna pay you back.
Whatever it takes, Mom and Dad. One day I'm gonna pay you back everything I've ever taken from you and every yeah.
So after he passed, we started finding stacks of coins just anywhere, windowsills, table. What is it called? Pennies after heaven? Or
Pennies from heaven. I heard that expression my whole life and I never knew what it meant.
And then all of a sudden it happened.
And so I'm sure you guys have heard this too, pennies from heaven. If you have your own take on it, I'd like to hear it. But
Yes.
You've heard the expression pennies from heaven. So I think what he's trying to do is not only remind us that he's still with us, but he's doing it out of a gesture, out of repaying what he wanted to give us back. Because I would go out in the middle of summer in Arizona, and at 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, it'd already be 110, 112 degrees, sometimes hotter, but at night, sometimes it never got under 100. So there were days where we never left the house. We never went outside. We had a pool and everything, but it was even too hot to swim. And there are days I would go out there just to make sure the sprinkler stuff was working, the pool timer was on and everything. And not every time, but every once in a while, I would, in a weird location.
Maybe stacks of points.
You have a quarter, a nickel, a dime, or a penny and a dime, and they would be stacked like that. One would be on the ground, just on the flagstone right on the porch. One would be over by the pool pump. One would be on the wall. And I'm like, what in the hell? Where is this coming from? And then it was very puzzling for a while. We'd find them in window seals. Like we'd pull back the blinds and there'd be,
or like on the floor in the corner.
And then I would find them in my bed. Well, that's fine. Sometimes I lay down and a quarter falls out of my pocket, while I have my jeans on or something like that. But there would be 2 coins stacked, like a penny and a dime stacked. After I just got out of bed and went to get back into bed, there would be 2 coins stacked, which, I mean, you can try and do that yourself. I don't think you can do it. So all of a sudden, all of a sudden it came to me. It's like he told me, he goes, Dad, it's pennies from heaven. And I'm like, pennies from heaven, pennies from heaven. What does that actually mean? Because we've heard it all of our lives. And I'm like, oh my God, this is what that means. Pennies from heaven is letting they're there with you, not necessarily just paying you back, but
they're letting you know they're okay.
But there. If anybody else has an idea on pennies from heaven, and I've never looked it up or anything, but if you have an idea of what that expression means, because I've heard it all of my life, let us know what you feel about that. But we had a jar at one time that was almost a quarter of the way filled, a cur jar of change that we'd gotten out of windowsills, on the back patio, in our beds and bathrooms. And if you knew us, we don't carry change. We're cards. We use cards for everything. We don't carry cash. We don't have any change jars anywhere. There's no change in this house. We don't carry change. We use our cards. And we got that thing filled up almost a quarter full of change.
A couple dollars in there. Once we took
it was pennies, nickels, dimes, quarters. Couldn't believe it. We still have it somewhere. I think we put it in a box when we moved.
Probably.
Just to keep it for keepsake. And it hadn't happened a lot anymore.
No.
But at the time, it was just
crazy. It was wild.
Every day there was like money everywhere, and we couldn't figure out what that was.
It was Jordan.
It was Jordan. Okay? Yeah. So,
I mean, even after Papa passed, the coffee maker would turn on, and
so Papa used to make coffee for Morgan, and I'm guessing she was 3, 4,
first
maybe,
cup of coffee.
And so she would go in there, and Papa would say, "You want some coffee?" And
every morning.
We're like, "Papa, you can't give her coffee." And
you couldn't tell him no.
But I couldn't tell him no, and because he did it to me my whole life. I was drinking coffee by age 3 or 4, and so I'm like, Allison said, "She can't." I'm like, that's a sign that a loved one is passed with you, and then that's how they show you they are there.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And you've heard pennies from heaven, right? I mean, we've heard that growing up our whole lives, but I never knew what it meant. I mean, nobody ever explained what pennies from heaven meant. It was just an expression. But months after Papa was gone, so we let Papa give her a little bit of coffee, and he put some sugar and milk in it, and she would be in there and she would sip it with him, and he put ice in it and get it real.
Those times.
And so it wasn't a couple of months after Papa was gone, and I think it was on a weekend, and
the coffee maker just turned on.
I woke up and I'm like, we don't even have coffee filters.
No.
I'm like, what is that? That's coffee. Who's making coffee? And the boys, of course, they would have never done that. We went downstairs, and we had a coffee maker who was sitting there from when Papa was with us. and we had not used it since. Not one day. We didn't even have coffee filters. We had some Folgers up in the cabinet of a can that he used to use, but we didn't have the filters and we hadn't used it. This whole pot of Mr. Coffee with no timer, it's manual only, was completely brewed. We pulled it out, we looked, it was a filter full of coffee grounds with a full pot of coffee. And I swear to you that none of us drank coffee and didn't know anything about it.
I wouldn't have done it.
It was incredible. And that was Papa. I told Papa before he went on, I said, Papa, hey, if you can let me know that you're with me, and this was on his deathbed. And I said, if you can like give me signs that you're with me, will you do that? And he goes, well, yeah, I guess if the Lord's lets me, I guess, yeah, I'll do that. He goes, I don't know if I'm like, all right, well, just remember that. And then that happened like a month later. And then all of a sudden my Leatherman, my knife, which I wore on my belt every day and put it on my dresser every night. It's kind of nerdy. And I would put this Leatherman up there. One day I woke up and it was gone. And I went to every one of my boys and I was mad.
Screamed at them.
I was really pissed. I'm like, I want it back. I don't know who took it, but I want it back. I need it back now. It was gone for almost 2 weeks. And then one morning I woke up, got up and glanced over, and it was sitting right where it disappeared from. And without a doubt, I just said, wow, Papa, you did that. I mean, I just knew it. I knew it. And I still have it today. But for 2 weeks, it was completely gone. And I threatened my kids' lives to give it back to me. And that was just amazing. So that's two of the things that Papa did for me.
I mean, at the house, I think Jordan did this. He used to smoke in the bathroom all the time. And he would have the fan on, the water on. The doors would lock. After he passed away a couple months later, fans were on, the water just turned on, the doors were locked, and you could smell the
Didn't
weed.
we find a cigarette butt in a trash can once?
Or no, it was something in the bathroom.
Something was in the bathroom?
Yeah.
And then, so he used to go through our cabinets at night while me and Allison are asleep. He would sneak into our bathroom and open up our medicine cabinet and go in there and rumble around in the medication and take little pills and stuff like that. I don't know if he was using them or selling them or anything like that, but and we would catch him and he'd get in trouble. He'd scream and everything. But it wasn't long after he was gone that Allison woke me up one night and said, honey, listen. I'm like, what? She goes, listen. And then I heard the bottles falling inside the medicine cabinet. It was closed, but I heard things falling. And I got my flashlight and I went up and I walked in there and I opened the door real slowly and the bottles were falling and they fell out because they were unstacked. They just fell out right there into the sink. And I'm like, what in the world? So we have to think that was Jordan.
Yeah. Telling you, hey.
There's no other explanation for it.
No.
And we're like, wow. And so we sit there and just talk to him and say, hey, buddy, we miss you. We love you. And you know, we accepted that as a fact.
I mean, even at the house, picture frames used to fall and
His
fly.
picture down the hall. So I have all the kids' pictures on the wall. His picture, you know how a picture falls off the wall and drops and breaks, you know, his picture would fly off the wall across the hallway, across the stairs, and land over by the railing with no explanation about how it couldn't have bounced. It flew off the wall. There was nothing on the ground to indicate it hit the ground before it hit the ground over there where it broke and where the glass was.
Fell down. It just went.
And it's amazing. And I know you guys got tons of stories like that.
Hello, Dirk.
Hey, Dirk. Hey, buddy. What's going on?
Does our ghost girl look like Julie?
That is Julie. Isn't that Julie?
Yes.
That's not Julie?
It looks just
Oh,
like
I thought
her.
it was. Our ghost girl looks like Julie. And Julie's a great story. If you want to go back and look at the episodes on Julie, be sure and check that out while you go back and look at all of our episodes if you guys want to go back there and like and share. And there's a lot of good stuff on with me, Keith, and Joey when we were in Arizona. And you'll enjoy those shows. But the Julie, we'll have to do another doll show one time, haunted dolls. It was such a great episode.
Well, I kind of just want to, thank everyone for allowing me to come on this podcast.
Well,
Thank you,
thanks for coming
Dad.
on. I know
Thank
it's
you,
hard to
Emily.
talk about things like that in front of people, but this will encourage other people to come forward and
Yes,
doing it. And
be
so,
open, be very
So if you-
accepting of it.
so yeah, if you have, questions or comments later, let us know. And I'm sure Morgan would like to, help you answer some of those things. We'll get that forwarded to her.
Yes, I'm always
And
open.
she will reach out to you and let you know what she feels. So again, thank you, Morgan. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Now we're going to bring Papa Joey back in
Papa
here.
Joey.
I need to fix this.
Oh,
Oh,
hey,
oh,
oh,
okay. Who's with us?
ghost? Anyone?
Okay. That does not happen.
No, never. It's been happening.
It happened once while we were,
Twice.
well, it happened 2 times but never
Yeah.
twice in a row like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't quite understand what that's
All right.
about. So
Bye. Thank you,
I guess,
everyone.
I guess it's because Morgan's leaving or Joey's coming.
Maybe. Bye, everyone.
Who knows? Oh,
Oh,
it's Morgan.
Wow.
I brought something with me.
Wow.
It's that electricity.
That's
That's
incredible.
crazy. Wow.
What in the world?
That's pretty well. Thank you, Morgan. That was awesome.
That was good. Thank you, Morgan. I'm proud of her. She was so scared to do that.
No,
But,
bless her heart.
Yeah. Yeah. Bless her heart.
Oh,
Yeah.
I got to go back because, and I know I've told the story before on the show, but
Let's hear
the
it.
pennies from heaven thing. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that.
They get cold in here.
We're living in the future.
We're going to start using our equipment up here.
Ah, yeah.
That was
Well, no, last
very
time we had
weird.
equipment up on the tables when we met Julie. But
Yeah. Well, we were talking
No.
about Julie.
yeah. That's what it was. Julie from afar. Do it again.
Julie, was that you? That was,
Yeah, that
did
was
it
pretty
happen
well.
after we said Julie?
Well, it happened when Morgan
Before?
was leaving, or kind of right before she
Yeah.
left, and then it did it twice. That was
Yeah,
weird.
we talked about Julie right before, right?
Yeah, we did.
Okay. Well, we'll
Um,
see. We'll play around with that.
So anyway, pennies from heaven. thing,
Yes.
So I know I told the story before, but I'll tell it again because that's the only explanation. It was on my birthday a few years back. I was going for my lunchtime walk at work, and just happened to look down and I saw a penny sitting on the sidewalk, and it was face up. And I said, okay, it's face up, then you pick it up for good luck, right? And so I pick it up and I look at it, and of all the years of pennies that could be on that sidewalk that day, it was my birth year, 1958,
And your birthday.
and my birthday. And my mom had passed away just a couple years before that. And so I just holding that penny, I had that energy go through me. It was like, thanks, Mom. I mean, that was,
Yeah.
So but what Christine said earlier, yeah, it's how our departed let us know they're still thinking of us.
But haven't
and
you heard
some-
that your whole life, pennies from heaven?
Well, there's a song.
Where did it come from?
I've heard it because there's a song.
There,
Every time it rains, it rains.
pennies from heaven.
Pennies from- yeah, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I mean, so I've heard that.
Is that an
but,
old song?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Because I've
I don't
heard
know
this.
how old,
I
but-
heard this as a child, so never knew where that came from.
Oh, good night, Keith and Lindsay. Glad you hopped on. It's good to see you.
Bye, guys. Thank you. But yeah, that was fun, man. I mean, I had to grow up seeing her come to me all freaked out many
Oh, I
times. going,
bet.
And I couldn't tell her it's your imagination. I just couldn't do it.
I with my own kids, I didn't really experience a lot of that stuff with,
Or they didn't come
my
to you.
children. They didn't come to me. They didn't,
See, that's
talk
a problem.
about,
A lot of kids don't.
didn't talk about imaginary friends. But my first granddaughter, she lived with us growing up, and, she would have night terrors, which would just,
Those are terrible.
oh, it was awful. You couldn't snap her out of it, It took a while, and it that made for some pretty crazy nights because we wake up with these blood curdling screams and, then try to calm her down. But when she started to grow up a little bit, and started having her imagination, having a good time with herself. I don't know if that didn't make sense. No, she did have a couple of imaginary friends that she was playing with all the time. It was Goo Goo and Gaga, and they were dudes.
Wow.
And so, wouldn't you think if you're going to pick imaginary friends, you at least pick somebody your age and, and same, another little girl. But no, these were two grown dudes that were Goo Goo and Gaga that she talked to, and they were her friends. And then I just remember one day we heard the toilet flush and the door was open, and she was standing in front of the toilet and she was waving as the water was swirling down, Oh, Shay, what are you doing? Just, saying bye to Goo Goo and Gaga.
Is that when they left, or
that's
just
when they
day?
left? That was the end of it. She flushed them down the toilet. And then they were gone.
It's amazing.
So, yeah. They're like they were goldfish or something. I don't know.
She was done with them. Time to move on.
That's enough for you.
So it brings me to one more story I want to tell. My brother, he's passed. I forget how many years it's been, a few years ago. He was 2 years younger than me. When we were children, he would have a imaginary horse. And the horse's name was Faithful Dobbin.
Faithful
Dobbin. It was his white steed, and it was his best friend. And everywhere he went, he took Faithful Dobbin. He took it with us in the car. He brought it to the dinner table and would, hey, Faithful Dobbin, I'll be with you. It was there with him the whole time. And I'm sitting here, I made fun of him his whole life. I tore him up because of Faithful Dobbin until I got to a point where I was bored, and I'm like, hey, what do you want to do? And he would be like, I would be Donnie, and he would be Marie, and we'd do Donnie Marie stuff, and we would play little games and stuff like that. And he'd always put a towel on his head and wear a robe, and he would always have Faithful Dobbin. Everywhere he went, he had Faithful Dobbin. And I told my mom this, I think it's been about a year ago, that I woke up one morning and I'm like, Faithful Dobbin, because I saw Kelly in a couple of dreams, and Faithful Dobbin was not there with him. But after I woke up with the dream with Kelly, Faithful Dobbin is all I could think about. I'm like, I just wonder, now that we have internet, and I put in Faithful Dobbin, and if you Google it, it'll see there's a white horse, and it's a mythical tale from way back. And I said, oh my God. So I took the picture and I sent it to my mom, and I said, who does that look like? She goes, it looks like a horse. What are you talking about? And I'm like, look at the name. And she's like, oh my God. It was Faithful Dobbin was the horse's name. And we were blown away. So, confirmation, big time, total.
Hey, that's got to be Scott.
8 years old, I told my dad I had an imaginary friend. He gave me a hex bag and a knife just in case. What's a hex bag?
I don't know, but that sounds like something Mike the Naked Bigfoot would do.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hex bag. I think it's a little bag of tricks I don't know.
Oh, thanks for jumping on.
That's awesome.
We sure miss your dad.
We do.
Terribly.
We have a big announcement coming up here pretty soon. We'll get.
That's what I want to talk to you about it.
Yeah, we got to talk to you
before we do anything.
But
I'll message you on Twitter about it.
But that's just crazy, man. I tormented him all of his life for having Faithful Dobbin as his best friend, and then, God, it's true, and I just feel horrible now. It's just confirmation of everything we've learned in the last few years since we've been doing this paranormal and ghost and UFO stuff. It's like it's amazing. So I'm glad we're doing this together, though, and I can't wait to do more.
Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of emotional for me to pull these messages up on his
Mike.
on his handle.
Mike. God bless rest your soul, buddy.
And thanks for keeping up with this stuff.
Oh, good.
It
I'm
means
glad.
a lot.
Yeah, we lost Mike on Halloween, and he used to be on our show quite a bit, and we just miss him so much. And he added so much. He says that we kind of inspired him, but I think he kind of inspired us a lot.
Oh yeah.
So we're gonna keep his legacy going. We'll tell you about that coming up soon. But
yeah. And now I'm speechless.
I am too.
Oh man. Yeah. I mean, this whole chat group would be on his show, on his live shows on when they do them. It's usually on like a Wednesday night, I think.
Yeah.
Wednesday nights he used to do them
with low lighting. I used to complain about that.
Oh no, he was the ultimate talking head.
Yeah, he was talking head.
Yeah.
And sometimes his face would just go in and out and in and out, and then we'd get just totally black. And I'm like, "Hey, where'd he go?" And then they'd come back. But that was fun. It was fun to watch, and I could go back and watch all of his stuff again and again and again. That was
I have this week actually.
Yeah, I did too. We did the Skinner.
Yeah, Skinner Man.
Skinner Man. That wasn't crazy. That happened down in Georgia. But yeah.
Anyway, we
God
will
bless you.
That's
you, man.
That's a show for another time.
Yeah.
A tell for another time. Whatever. Yes.
But anyway, I'm glad Morgan came on. And when I first asked her to come talk about that stuff, she was like, "Oh God, no, Dad, I can't do that. I can't do that." And that's the way most children, or I keep calling her a child, but that's the most way kids are. She's 20.
You're a super whore.
Super whore. We're not saying super whore. We're saying super horror.
Yeah, that's okay. Papa Bones.
Yeah, Papa Bones. Just to clear that up real quick.
Yes, we're all very sad.
Yeah,
about that, Andrea.
Yeah, it's kind of took us in a different direction.
Yeah,
but yeah, thanks, Morgan. I appreciate it. And again, if you guys have questions, comments, stuff like that, send it to us. Check out our email, like, share, and
yeah. If you are watching this on the replay, then
and we can do more shows about this. We can get some guests on, with personal experiences.
We'll do all kinds of things that are out there.
Out there.
I got to get a new sound pad just for out there. I still have our, which is great.
I love that one. We have to drink when we do.
Oh, that's right.
Remember?
Yeah, that was the Yeah.
Yeah, I miss those.
Oh,
but
well, this has been fun.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure how much time that would take, so I prepared or printed a bunch of stuff about parents' stories of their kids.
Yeah.
And their ghostly friends.
Yeah.
So we'll save that for another time.
And she has a lot more stories. I just can't think of them all, but it's just incredible. And I love the picture that you put up there on the front. I can't remember why I took that picture. It's kind of scary now because I'm like, what in the world did that picture mean? I'm like, you don't just take pictures like that every day. I don't know what it meant. It was just like kind of freaky.
I was trying to find something that was like,
she's like, Dad, I'm seeing, and it was like a perfect picture. So again, I'm glad you came on, and thank you guys. And I don't know when we'll be back, next week or the week after, but we'll have
at least in 2 weeks. We'll be back.
We'll have a great show for you, and we've enjoyed you guys hanging out with us tonight.
You get to witness my hair growing back.
I've never seen him like this. Kind of sexy.
I really thought it would be gray.
It's dark.
I mean, my beard's gray.
Yeah, but your hair is pretty dark.
Weird stuff.
Means you're happy.
And you know what, Clip?
No stress.
Yeah, we're having a good time. So, good night, Super Horror Show. Good night, Christine.
Bye, Christine.
And we're going to say good night to everybody.
Yeah, we are.
It's time to to hit the button and say, until next time.
Until next time.
This is Truth About Beer, and out there with Papa Joey.
Uncle Tim.
And
We'll see you next time.
Till next time.